guys. Hello, hello. Hey, sorry, last speaker of the night, I'm a bit tipsy, don't hold that against me. So yeah, I'm a designer and a director from Geneva, Switzerland, currently based in London. I'm actually a typographer and a designer turned art director, turned motion graphic artist, turned CGI specialist, turned stop frame animator, turned artist and director with a brief history as a music producer and a rapper, hence the sideways appearance of anything sitting on my head. Basically, I like to make films these days. I like to make films that use design and kind of propulse it in a three-dimensional space. And I like making films where all the special effects are usually done in camera, so kind of very retro and finding sort of weird, cool, crazy mechanisms. And since I'm a Swiss graphic designer at heart, I try to incorporate that sort of strange minimalism in all of my work. Which can get a little surreal sometimes, like chocolate milk legs spilling over my living room floor all over the place. It was a mess. Someone who is literally shaving their bush. Someone inflating their own head to symbolize the meritocracy of the Ivy League schooling system in the US. Destroying a collector TV to turn it into a treadmill, spewing consumer products. Two boxers hitting a punching ball, unless you can see anything else. Sorry, it's a cheeky one. Someone opening the wrong kind of door, which is a spray-painted tomato knob. Hands coming out of a flower pot as a symbolic portrayal of the Arab Spring in Bahrain, so it can get political sometimes. Or a security guard who is kissing a golden triangular canvas. Question mark, before getting rejected by a big catapult firing 8 liters of gold paint. So this is the mechanism here. This is a test. So yeah, I mean, I tend to be a bit DIY, so I mean, you can see that's clearly not a clever or stable mechanism, but you know, we try to have fun and make things work with zero budget. Here I'm making a statue melt just by playing rubbish tracks really loudly. So this was really fun to make. What we did here is we 3D printed a Greek statue just to get its physical shape, mold it so we could create it out of 6 kilos of white chocolate, just to melt it just for 2 seconds of screen time. So a bit, you know, a bit masochistic, but yeah, it was fun. So yeah, recently I've been having fun kind of exploring different mediums and different ways to do new work, I guess. So this is an art installation I did in Paris. So I physically suspended all these rackets and balls, and basically I'm using a projector to projection map on them to create kind of a live animation and bring it to life. That's me entering the frame just to show that people could actually do that. And actually no one came, so I was the only one. So I also experimented a bit with 3D printing, which was kind of fun as well. So doing like a physics simulation in 3D on various objects, 3D printing them obviously, and then retouching them with paint like model makers would, just to get that extra detail in the print. And then film them for real. Actually, the camera right there is the one I used to film it, so thank you, Harry. Or building a DIY gravity defying spinning machine, which was really fun. And once we built that, like adults, very serious ones, we proceeded to throw things in it, which was fun, to create a commercial for Apple's iPhone 6S. So it was fun. I mean, what was fun about this is that, you know, like little boys, we got to be like, oh, we have this machine, let's just throw, you know, really random stuff in there, or let's make some really crazy things, because you could play with objects, you can play with gravity, and I've been wanting to kind of recreate this Memphis pattern in midair using physical objects. I was like, oh, that's going to be so cool. So we tried this. So we were using glass tubes as molds, filling them with jelly, creating these really weird jelly snakes to get that sort of squiggly line pattern to work in midair. And, you know, it's one of those things, like in my head, it was going to be amazing. It was going to look great. And in reality, it was a kind of a disaster, and it took a long time to clean, and basically it was a nightmare. So yeah, 2016 has been the year of VR. It has been my year with VR. I mean, who doesn't want to be in that picture right now? Like, this is so cool, no? I mean, no, okay, not really. But anyway, I wanted to create a video in 360 degrees, more precisely a music video in 360 degrees. One that felt a bit different, both how it was shot, but also, you know, how it was serving the music itself. So really, instead of being a structured music video that follows the track, it's more one that kind of explained the process of how each sound came into creation. So this is my concept. This is the mood board I sent over to the clients who were fascinated by my style. So these are basically human-powered instruments. So the whole thing was the future of music. In my future, the music is powered by humans, because we're going to need to exercise, because there's going to be drone deliveries and VR chat rooms, and we're just basically going to have to work it. So this is my human kick drum, which is using a custom-made studded bum suit, which is really fun, and getting friends to come down and wear that suit for half a day.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Did the spikes go into your butt?
That's a very worried producer there, just being like, oh God, no rules, no regulations, no standard procedures and health and safety that you usually have on shoots. And speaking of sugar glass, this is my snare, which is very fun. Another lucky guy who got to come over, you know how it's like. Have fun, get really nervous and be like, oh, I don't know if my head's gonna hit the wall, does the glass actually cut you? Yeah, it's fun. And so it ended up looking like this.
Have any of you ever heard of King Midas? Magic touch, crisp snare.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. This is my melodic percussion. This is basically a guy crushing ice cream cones with his head, defying gravity on an Escher-esque staircase, if that makes any sense. Of course, I had to test this out and see how it didn't really work that well. And then there was a synth sound, which was kind of dubsteppy, and for me, dubstep has always been kind of a, this sound. It kind of reminds me of a jammed up vacuum cleaner. So I kind of wanted to represent that physically with a guy sucking toilet rolls with a vacuum cleaner, which was really fun to do as well. And another friend who came over wondering what the meaning of life was at that very moment. Sorry. And this is my water drip sound, because water drip sound is really cool to have in a music track these days, especially if it's minimal electro. So I just imagined this girl diving through the wall as if it was made out of liquid and diving through the other side. I thought it would be an interesting thing to follow in 360 degrees. And most importantly, this is our genius composer who's guiding us through the room. He's showing us his human instruments, and he's a musical genius who lives in the shadows because he has a special gift, is that everything he touches becomes a gravity-defying GIF-looped human instrument. So it's a simple premise, really. And in this mockumentary, we were invited to kind of tour around the room and see what he was doing. So it was kind of fun. So this is a little...
You call yourself music's biggest revolution since Baroque. What exactly do you mean?
Well, for instance, this is the origin of grime music. And Carré Bleu, and the future of music.
Yeah, so anyway, that was cool, and we got to wear the Oculus Rift as a live monitor, so that was really crazy because I wasn't actually on set, but I was next door looking in my set and directing an old man wearing a Pokemon suit and telling him what to do without being there. So I mean, instantly I thought this is going to be the future of client meetings. You can be like cozily laid back in your bed and just like have those PPMs fly by. So it was fun, and it was a long, complicated project, but I got to learn a lot about 360 filmmaking, which is cool. And so after that, I had to buy a cheap headset to show the film to my friends because 360 filmmaking is not the sort of thing you can just press play and like lay back. So I bought the headset, I was showing the film to my friends, and I was just fascinated by how stupid people look when they wear VR. It's just like, my God, and they bump into walls, and you're like, you're not even supposed to move in my video. It's not even that extreme, you know? And, you know, I mean, this is next level stuff. I mean, what is the world coming to? So anyway, at that point I had to make a music video for Red Axes, and I had a few genius ideas for completely pointless virtual reality games that could possibly exist, like walking up a circular staircase in VR. So I thought, you know, wouldn't it be cool to make a music video, you know, where people are dancing and they're doing a choreography, but they actually don't know they're doing it because they're too busy like playing their own VR games, and it's almost like accidentally they're creating a sort of disco routine, you know, or they're clapping to the beat, or they are stomping to the beat as well, like they're very dedicated. So I imagined the sort of worst case scenario VR party possible. The accountant department of a fake energy drink company are having a VR party. And obviously they have endless supplies of caffeinated drinks, so what could possibly go wrong? Turns out a lot of things. You know, and with all this craziness happening, we follow our lead character who falls in love with a virtual reality woman before things start getting really dark. You know, and yeah, it just becomes tragic. And then, you know, I mean, imagine playing games like this where you're in a VR environment, you know, after playing VR all night long and having too much caffeine, and you're like, oh, it just becomes really crazy. But I mean, it was a really interesting kind of process that led me to making this, and it was the first film I've done that has no practical effects and that has CGI. And that was actually about people and how they reacted to things, as opposed to like weird, you know, hands and legs made out of different things. And I also collaborated with the amazing Jack Sachs, who I'm sure most of you know, who's an amazingly talented illustrator and designer, to design this sort of virtual world and, you know, see what the games are going to be like, and make a fake brand of energy drinks. And so we were shooting this in Tel Aviv in Israel because the band is from there, my friends are from there, and honestly I've just had my second child this year and I needed a bit of a vacay. So I did take off for a short period of time, and I had to go there with a suitcase filled with props because it's like low budget, super last minute, don't know what to do. And obviously Israel is a really difficult country to get into. They're very strict. So I had a really hard time explaining to them why I was coming in the country with one suitcase that was packed to the brim with like retro disco lights that were packaged together to kind of, they almost looked like a bomb. I was really embarrassed when they opened the suitcase, and they started getting really angry. And then in the other suitcase, there was like fake cigarettes, party plates, party hats, bunting, VR headsets, seashell bras. There was like anything into the world. So they weren't happy at all, and they thought I was going to sell these products, and so they interrogated me for quite a long time, and they must have kept my name on file, because as I left, they stopped me again and interrogated me again, and they started going through pictures on my phone from that time, just to like make sure I wasn't like selling anything. So these are a few of the making of pictures from my phone, including our lead character, who's a legend. And they, at that point, they concluded that I wasn't there on business, just creating some weird VR party somewhere. So they let me go, and yeah, that's it. So that's been kind of my year so far. Filming an old guy in a Pokemon suit, showing the film to my friends, seeing how ridiculous everything was in VR, inspiring me to make a music video, and yeah, that's kind of it. So thanks, guys.